Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Go ahead, Daphne.
No. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll start with that.
I don't know where to start, Daphne. Do you want doctor self, mom self, scientist self?
Give us a little bit of everything.
So let's then reframe then. Why are you here at the next symposium today?
Man, I thought you were going to ask me my favorite question that you ask. Why did I go into neonatology?
We'll get to that.
Okay, so why am I here today?
Yeah.
Because I am finally able to start back up my dream of being a scientist and a physician, which has been my dream since 5th grade. That's when I first had my first science experiment, and I grew up during the Ryan White and AIDS epidemic, and that's a hard thing to see as a child. That was actually when I had my first mouse model in 7th grade.
Wow.
But I also am, a family member with a really strong family history of cancer. And I'm gonna give a shout out to my sister who's at Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. And she got diagnosed with breast cancer in May, and she is my role model because I am a doctor because of Mary, and she is in adolescent medicine, and I'm going to make a plug for her transgender clinic that unfortunately is no longer able to operate at Vanderbilt. And I pray one day she can move back, she can move to me in Chicago because after all of my training, I had a circuitous path to being a physician scientist because I am the first physician in my family to go to med school in this country. My sister couldn't get into med school. She went to St.
Which country are you
George's.
from?
So my family is Italiano, Napoli, Pomigliano di Arco. We're going in March. All 3 of my children, including my special needs one, Diddy, our dodo bird, and my sweet husband of 25 years. So
It's important for people to know that there's a video and they should check that the bird is not a real bird.
The collection of items.
But he did go swimming with me this morning. I'm an avid swimmer, and I took him with me swimming, but his balance is off, much like his mom, and he fell in the pool.
Oh my.
He's a little bit wet. And a shout out to the kind gentleman who was taking a relaxing swim, but had to take a picture of me and Diddy and helped me fish him out.
Fair enough. Where can you tell us a little bit about where you're practicing in Illinois?
Yeah, we didn't even let you. You didn't even tell us your full name and where you're coming from.
Oh, okay. It's a long name. And I will also put a plug in. I'm the director of the neonatal transport team. And I should say where I work because I am so blessed to be at the University of Illinois at Chicago, working with an amazing female scientist and physician. She is my role model, and a shout out to Deanne Pillars. And I was at Vanderbilt with an amazing, what I thought was amazing research program, and I'll put a plug for the fetal microbiome. Joe New and I have worked together. He's another pioneer in the work that I do, and Joe and I both agree there's a fetal microbiome, and one day Marty Blazer and his wife Maria, do not believe it is one, and one day Maria and I publish together, one day we will dispel that, Joe and I, hopefully before he retires. But I moved to Chicago after closing down my research lab and being a neonatologist there. My mentor there was Hendrik Weitkamp, another amazing scientist and physician. And I took a couple of years off. I worked in private practice for a really wonderful group of doctors in Nashville. But when you have a dream, you cannot give it up. And that is my message for any young person of whatever age who has a dream and doesn't know if they're going to make it. And I never thought I would make it, never thought it. I applied to 40 medical schools the first time after going to graduate school that I paid for by myself in Harlem, working at methadone clinics, teaching them about nutrition, trying to tell them not to buy McDonald's. Didn't get in, only got one interview. And then I applied again. This time I paid for 50 applications, and I was very blessed that Mary O'Keefe, I hope she's doing well now, in the admissions office called me at University of Vermont and said, you know, Joann, you're on the wait list. It was 2 weeks before school had started. I had just lost my eyeball in a bike accident, and I didn't know if I was going to make it. It was going to be hard enough in med school, let alone now with one eye. And Mary called me and said, we've got a spot, and you really want it, Joann, and so can you get up here in 2 weeks? And my biggest, amazing supporter, and my name is long because of him. My name is Joann Romano, because I'm Italian, couldn't give that up. Keeler. It's a mouthful, but I could not be here without not just the support of my parents and my sisters and all the amazing people that have nurtured me, but with Ray. And Ray and I packed up. He was at the stock exchange. He's a CFO now. He got his dream too. And we packed it up and we moved to Vermont with our dog and our cat, and the rest is history. And so after having to close my research because of my amazing, all of my children are amazing. Connie and Marion and Terrence, Sweet Tea, and they're going to listen to this because I work a lot. I had hoped maybe I'd get a little more work-life balance. You guys talk about that in your podcast.
We talk about that a lot.
You do. And a shout out to you guys, because when I'm working, I'm serious. When I am working hard, and I told Daphne this yesterday, when I am exhausted and tired and I want to see my kids, but I had to put in that 27th mile, and I can't, I'm drinking coffee and listening to music, and I can't keep my eyes open on the drive or on the train. I put you guys on.
Thanks.
I do. And so I'm in Chicago because after my son, who has multiple special needs, he's autistic and has ADHD and has had a number of other surgical procedures. I decided that I could serve children like my son better if I went back into research now that he was doing better, and figure out my research program, because I'm going to put a plug for it, because we are now rebuilding. And I'm a junior scientist again. And I'm not embarrassed to say it, I'm a middle-aged woman rebuilding my science program, and I am excited to be here because I call this my coming out party.
Very
I
cool.
never thought I'd be back here.
What was the biggest obstacle in rekindling that career?
That's a great question. I never thought about that, actually. Worrying that the work-life balance that I wasn't able to achieve at Vanderbilt, which is an amazing place. My two sisters work there. My other sister's a cancer survivor, and my mom's a cancer survivor. So we've got some amazing Romano women. My sister Linda is the only one not in medicine, and my amazing dad, who is the first person in our family and his family to get a PhD. We have just wonderfully strong people, but I think the hardest obstacle was wondering if going back into science and being an ICU doctor was going to, again, push my family to the second place. Because la familia es molto importante.
Is what matters most.
So anyway, you guys have made me talk about some really hard topics. And
There
it's
you go.
only 12:30, and I haven't finished my coffee.
There you go.
Well, thank you for sharing your why, of why you're here, and rebuilding your science career.
We'll be on the
to
lookout
help
for your work.
Yeah, and I also just want to say, as a mom of a special needs kid, I think the highlight, second to this, although I have to be honest, guys, this might be my second highlight.
That's fair.
No offense, I'm a groupie.
Being in the top three
Meeting you is better than meeting some of the country music stars that I go through in my life as a cowgirl. But was meeting Leslie and Jen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use Leslie's words, because when I think it's amazing how they're helping other children, because all of us see how parents who lose children have the biggest obstacle living past that moment.
Yeah.
And what Leslie said to me, and she and Jen were so kind to autograph my book for my son, Jen will be doing it shortly, is you can either be better or you can be bitter.
That's right.
To everyone listening who's trying to do a career,
I love that.
Be better and don't get bitter.
That's awesome.
You guys are amazing. Keep
Joann,
doing
thank
your
you so much
podcast.
for dropping by.
I'm off camera.
Hold
Oh my
on.
God, guys.